So we've had the house arrests, the lockdowns, the social distancing, the obsessive compulsive hand washing, and the ever-expanding places we're supposed to wear a mask in public. We've had the economy and our social lives crushed, and we're now being threatened with ever more stupid, pettifogging regulations, including the stupid on its own terms idea of a nighttime curfew. The last one sounds like one of those satirical things from a spoof website, but it's actually being considered apparently. Is the virus more dangerous at night time? Is it better to force people out in a more confined time period? Wouldn't that make transmission more likely? And let's not forget the more or less unenforceable idea about having a maximum of 6 people in your house at any one time. Sure, you can see people in the pub, the restaurant, the train, the office, the gym, but not football grounds, school, supermarket, shopping malls, and the cinema, because that's all fine, but just don't have both grandparents around if you're married with 3 children. That or, banish your wife to the garden. And let's not forget the endless wall-to-wall shrieking propaganda vilification of anyone who says, sorry, that doesn't make sense. But all of this has just been the entree. Perhaps it was designed as a compliance test by our friends from the Behavioural Insights team. Perhaps it was designed to terrify people into a cowed obedience. That certainly seems to be the case for some people. Perhaps the ever-changing litany of laws, permissions, prohibitions are designed to bamboozle and demoralise people into a hopeless, sort of resigned compliance. That was all an entree, but now we come to the main course. On the 28th of August, to virtually no fanfare, the government published a consultation document entitled Distributing Vaccines and Treatments for Covid19 and Flu. The first thing to note, this proposed legislation is extraordinary, so why is it necessary to add seasonal flu to that? When a government wants to power grab, they'll take a situation and hype it out of all proportion, and then come up with a solution with all kinds of bells and whistles tacked on. It's the classic propaganda trick known as the Hegelian dialectic: problem, reaction, solution. Covid was the problem, the lockdowns, masks, and all the rest of it was the reaction, and now we have the apparent solution. So let's look at the meat of the proposals. The first 3 are chilling. Remember, this is not any kind of conspiracy theory. This is a government website, and this is what they want to do. Including other things, they want to authorise the temporary supply of an unlicensed medical product, abandon civil liability and immunity, and expand the workforce eligible to administer vaccinations. Now, why on earth would you want to supply an unlicensed medical product? We survived last year well enough. We have Nightingale hospitals available, and the hospitals across the West are pretty much empty. We have older malarial treatments which, when combined with zinc, are highly effective in early stage interventions, and we are told the new drug remdesivir is also highly successful. Incidentally, the list price of remdesivir is $520 per vial, and they recommend a course of 6 treatments. This may explain why some people would rather sell this than some off-patent malaria drug which can be sold for pennies. Then we come to EU Directive 2001/83 Article 5, brackets 3. This has been transposed into UK law by Regulation 345. This tedious and rather harmless sounding piece of bureaucracy means that, and I'm quoting from the consultation document, key actors in the medicine supply chain cannot generally be sued in the civil courts for the consequences resulting from the use of an unlicensed product. That sounds almost unreal. Essentially they're saying we haven't tested this properly and the normal safety standards have been cast aside to such an extent we can't even achieve normal regulatory compliance. But don't worry. Oh, and if there are any disasters of regardless of how terrible or how widespread they are, up to and including loss of life, sorry, there's no recourse. The key actors are immune from civil prosecution. Ask yourself this: would you buy a new car if the salesman said, we rushed the testing of the brakes and we didn't really finish it, so would you mind signing a form exempting us if you and your family are injured or even die as a result of brake failure? Is there anyone in the country who would sign such a contract? And yet, this is what the government are proposing to sign on our behalf. Then we have the rather odd idea of expanding the workforce eligible to administer vaccinations. Why would you need to do this? There are over 600,000 nurses in the UK, And if you assume a 60 million population, of course, that's a nurse for every 100 people. Add that figure to the UK's doctors, around 150,000, and various other people in medical fields who routinely inject people, such as, say, radiographers, and you're getting pretty close to 1 million people who can already safely inject. So why on earth would you need to allow others to inject people? The guidance talks about people who are not registered healthcare professionals, and that could mean anything. This is speculation, but it could mean police or military personnel if they try and make it compulsory. Think about it. The district nurse might struggle to force you to be injected, but 3 dozen cops or 2 soldiers might find the task somewhat easier. This is profoundly troubling, and I'm not going to suggest you respond to the consultation. They've already substantially made their minds up. But I am going to ask you to speak to your friends and family still wearing masks and believing what's on TV. Ask them 3 questions. Ask them if they would ever allow their kids to be injected with an unlicensed medicine. Then ask them if their kids suffered damage or even death from a medicine given to them by the NHS or someone else, should they be allowed to sue those responsible, or should those people enjoy total legal immunity? Lastly, ask them, should someone injecting your children be a registered, qualified and experienced healthcare professional, or would you be happy for absolutely anyone to do it if the government says, that's okay? These questions surely answer themselves, and once people have agreed with you, show them the consultation document, link in the description. Have it on your phone, WhatsApp the link, email it, Facebook it, link to this video, print it out, but have it there in black and white. Psychologically speaking, once people make up their mind, it's hard to shift them, so get out ahead of this one. Get people to say no to this vile, totalitarian garbage. The face masks and the lockdowns and all the rest of it was annoying and damaging, but it was a sideshow. This is real. It's the end game. It's here and it's now. We can only speculate what's behind all this, but every one of us has a responsibility to say no. No to giving drug companies carte blanche to do as they will with no legal recourse. That way lies tyranny, and it's now clear for all to see. Please share this video far and wide. It's time to think independently. It's time for courage, and if you've listened to this, I know you can think, and I believe you're brave. It's time to be brave. Share the video. Speak out. It's time to stand up. It's time to say no. If you like this, please like, recommend and subscribe.